everyone, and welcome. Did you miss it? Yeah, so did we. Football is back in the UAE, and that means Final Score is back as well. You've had some football over the summer, but now the main event can really start. The ADNOC Pro League kicks off this weekend, and we're going to preview every talking point leading up to the big kickoff. Who's going to be the champions? Who's going to go down? Who's going to lift the trophies? Are any of these new signings going to make a massive impact? All the managerial changes as well. So much for us to preview. Of course, I'm not alone here in the studio. Tonight and all the way through the season, I'll be joined, of course, by Ibrahim Diaki, the legend of UAE football, and our walking encyclopedia is here as well, of course, Pedro Correa. Welcome, gentlemen. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, we'll go through every team and some big talking points to start off with as well. Just your feelings coming back fresh off the summer. We've had a World Cup, great fun to watch, but now we're back with domestic football. Excited, Ibrahim, is an understatement.
You cannot believe how excited I am. I'm really, really glad that the league will restart again. I couldn't wait. It's like it looked like it's like I'm still playing, and the feelings are really it's great emotion, and I can't wait to see the new signings and new coaching take over the teams. I would like to see what will happen.
There's been so much that we're going to talk about over the next hour or so that it's hard to really kind of focus. But I can't remember so many interesting storylines coming into the beginning of the season before we've even kicked a ball.
Yes, because there was lots of internal movements, domestic transfers, and that is not very usual, at least at some level. Last season was great. I said it, for me, in my time in the country, it was the most competitive season I've witnessed. It is going to be hard to live up to that, but I think from what we are seeing in terms of transfers and managerial changes, we might have an even better season, and that's what we are hoping for.
Yeah, it was absolutely superb last season, considered one of the best seasons we've ever seen in the UAE. Al Ain, of course, were the champions of the ADNOC Pro League. We saw lots of stars, we saw lots of goals, lots of drama, but leading into this new season, more than anything else, there were a lot of questions to be answered. The new season ahead is already throwing up plenty of talking points before a ball has even been kicked. Notable activity in the transfer window has seen some clubs lose seemingly valuable talent, while other clubs have been almost totally rebuilt. One of the standout moves is that of Al Ain's record goalscorer and the league's top scorer again last season, Kojo Laba. He's left the champions to join Sharjah, and he's not their only new recruit. 3 Brazilians, Guilherme, Moura and Azevedo, have arrived, along with Congolese midfielder Charles Pickle, who arrives from Espanyol. Al Nassr quietly impressed last season, and they've been very busy in the transfer window, including Romanian Marius Marin, winger Wesley Delgado, and former Al Wahda striker Lionel Wamba. They also have Milos Milojevic as their new head coach, after he guided their rivals Al Wassel to the league title a couple of years ago. While Al Jazira have been strengthening their squad too, it's the appointment of Cosmin Olaru as their head coach which is their most significant move. The former UAE national team head coach won titles and trophies at Sharjah and Al Ain, and no one has a bigger reputation in the game in the country. Al Wassel have poached influential midfielder Yahya Nada from Al Ain and Nigerian Ridwan Bobola, among others. Shabab Al Ahly will now be guided by Brazilian Andre Jardim, while another Brazilian, Pericles Chamusca, takes over at Al Wahda. For the champions, Vladimir Ivic has, not surprisingly, stayed as head coach, and despite losing Laba, they have added winger Valentino Lazaro and Greek striker Georgios Giacomakis. And expect the 2 promoted teams to make a few headlines as well. Hatta have appointed Serbian Alexander Ilic as their new manager, while United FC make their debut in the top division with Italian legend Andrea Pirlo still at the helm. So there's plenty of intrigue before the first games get underway, and that will only increase after kickoff. But as always with the ADNOC Pro League, nothing is predictable and drama is guaranteed. Yeah, so drama is certainly guaranteed over the next season ahead. And as we were saying there, a lot of questions still to be answered before we get into the first games of the season. Trying to narrow down all the talking points is almost impossible. But if you have to look at overview of what's happened over the summer, there's probably three main stories that have been dominating the headlines. Okay, three things to watch then. Let's start with arguably, I think, the biggest news that happened over the summer. Kojo Laba, after being the top goal scorer again last season across the ADNOC Pro League, winning the title with Alain Pedro, he makes the switch to Sharjah. Sent shockwaves through everyone, didn't it, really? And for Sharjah, this is just fantastic signing.
I don't remember such a shocking domestic transfer, I mean. We've been having many good international transfers over the years, but domestically, Laba was just champion with Alain, top goal scorer, and moved to Sharjah. For Sharjah is a brand new dawn in a position, and mostly not a position, but mostly in a role where I believe the team was orphan of a player like Laba over the last few seasons. They were using players like Caio Lucas, Osman Camara, even Lua Pereira. They were using lots of central forwards in that position. They were struggling to find a target man, a main man up front to play for. And now they have, I believe, the best you can find in this country, at least over the last few seasons, Laba. So I believe more than Laba to be adapted to Sharjah, and of course he will have to adapt to his new club and his new teammates. Sharjah will have also to adapt the way they play to feed Laba, because Laba is a great finisher, but is a finisher that needs to be fed, namely the aerial play. So I think it's a tremendous transfer. Is the main story probably of the summer so far. It's not done yet. But I think it's also a bit of a change in the paradigm and the way Sharjah has been attacking over the last few seasons.
You know Laba well, and you've seen him progress. And I mean, he hasn't been just top goal scorer last season, for several seasons before that as well. Can he reproduce this kind of form again at Sharjah? Do you have any doubts about that?
No, the very remarkable striker. He proved to all of us over a couple of seasons who he is, the lion that he is, and very talented, very smart striker. And I think going to Sharjah, that was a great move from Sharjah, because the management, bringing Laba in the front line, as Pedro was mentioning, that's what Sharjah needed, because they needed a finisher, and what the best way to bring Laba. And of course, when you see the midfield of Sharjah, great ball possession, even from the back, the way how they take the ball out. But when they reach in front, the finishing, it was not there. So I think I'm really glad for Laba to sign in Sharjah. But I don't know if he will be able to do the same like he did in Alain. But with the quality that he has, I believe he can still be the same Laba.
It's going to be fascinating to see how he gets on. The first few games at Sharjah, will it start automatically, or is it going to take a while to get into it? Let's hear from the man himself.
Yes, of course. I'm very happy to be here. And I think this make football beautiful. Sometimes you change clubs and you still the same, but the place change sometimes. And I'm here like a new player, but with all the players, I feel like a family. I feel like I'm with my brothers, my friends. So I'm very happy here, and I think together we'll achieve the target of the club.
Yeah, if you see that big smile during the season, that means Sharjah are doing very well. So, Kojo Laba is probably the biggest player transfer. Let's move on to where we've got a lot of new head coaches this season, but the biggest name in UAE football has been for a long time, Cosmin Olaru. Most recently, the UAE head coach, but at a club level, had great success at Sharjah, great success at Al Ain. He's now in charge of Al Jazira. They've already played a game this season, a competitive game, the Asian Champions League Elite playoff. Didn't go their way, so they're going to be in the Asian Champions League 2 during the season. But what a signing this is for Al Jazira. Couldn't be more experienced, couldn't come with more quality behind him. What's he going to bring to Al Jazira? Can he do what he did at Sharjah and Al Ain again?
Yeah, Graham, as you said, he's one of the most decorated coach, I will say, in the region, not only in the UAE. He's very successful, but that's the type of coach Jazira needed because he has the character, he has the personality, and I think with the way of Jazira was playing before, we all know that Jazira had the problem with the quick transition, and especially the positioning, the tactical part. Cosmin is the right coach for that, and he has a lot of qualities. He has enough experience. He knows the league very well, and I think him coming to Jazira, it is not an easy task. But I believe with the quality that he has and the character that he has, it will be really helpful for Jazira. So the club probably expect a lot from him, but Cosmin is the type of person I know he has strong character, and on top of that, with the experience that he has, I don't think it will be difficult for him to put Jazira on the right path.
Near the end of last season, we were starting to see improvements from Al Jazira. We were quite impressed second half of the season with some of their performances and results. That was before Cosmin has come in. What happens over the summer since he's come in? He's such a presence, isn't he? I mean, if Cosmin says you do something, you do it.
Yeah.
I think it's also, and I'm going to repeat this word another time after in the next theme. It's again another change in the paradigm. In this case, in the change in the playing style of Jazira. Jazira over the last, let us say, maybe 10 years, in general, has been very well adapted to the Dutch school, and having many successful Dutch coaches. Marino Puzic had some success last season. Before that, Marcel Keizer, Hanton Kate, so many. So Jazira had usually that school in terms of playing style. Now with Cosmin, it's all about pragmatism. It's all about winning. He is the most decorated coach right now, coaching in the UAE. I think in time, with his work, Jazira will improve a lot defensively, and they must. And we saw this in this last match this week. They must improve a lot defensively. I'm not just talking about the defense. I'm talking about the whole team. So I think Jazira will be a more pragmatic side, still having the talent that they have. One of the things I noticed in the last match was the fact that Akonor got back into his winger position, even though for a short period of time. Yeah. And I saw already some differences with the assist he made to Simon Banza's goal. So I think with the talent Jazira has and the possibilities that eventually they have of even hiring a couple of more good players, and with this coach, I think for sure we must expect them to defend better, and that is very important to be successful in the league. In terms of the offense, they need, of course, to tune in like any other team, but I think with the talent they have, they are fine.
But at the same time, as I always mention, when a new coach is coming into a team, it's not that easy because you have to learn again. You have to see which player can play in which position, Usually it takes time to try to build your team the way you want. But the good thing with Cosmin, he has that knowledge and the understanding of how the league works. He knows very well his opponents. So this is a great asset for Jazira. It's a great signing for Jazira.
I think Jazira, sorry, Graham, I think Jazira will be less possession-oriented like they were before with the Dutch school, and more target-oriented, taking things down to the box as soon as possible to score goals and win matches.
He will definitely put that discipline into the team.
Yeah, discipline and targets. Let's hear from Cosmin.
The club is one of the biggest clubs in UAE, and all the environment they have. And when I discuss with the people from the club, the ambition and the way how they think, the way how develop this new project, and I think that is a good opportunity for me to be part of the project. And I'm very proud that they think about me and they choose me. And it's a big honor for me to be here.
Those stats speak for themselves. That's a huge signing for Al Jazira. Cosmin is now at the Mohammed bin Zayed Stadium. OK, the last of our three biggest headlines of the season is all about United FC, a story we've never seen in UAE football before. A privately owned club only came into existence, 4 years ago? Andrea Pirlo, Italian legend, leading them. They've got promoted. They're going to be in the top division. They will play their first ever game in the top flight this weekend. What else is about this story that's so remarkable to you, Pedro?
It's as I said before, and I promise to say the word paradigm again, and I'm saying it's a new paradigm in the league. And the most interesting thing about United is we don't know what's going to happen. It's a different type of club, a new club, with a manager of a very high profile, of course, as a player. As a manager, is still starting somehow his career. I don't know what United did last summer, but I know what they did last season in the Cup, in the First Division 2, where they got promoted. But I remember what they did in the President's Cup. They reached the semi-finals. They only fell to Al Ain after extra time. And they managed to knock out Sharjah and Al Wahda, two other heavyweights of the UAE football. So with also the signings, because they brought in some interesting experienced players in the UAE football scene, namely Habib Fardani was already there last season. He's coming back to the ADNOC Pro League, and I think it's a happy return. Among other signings they have made, I think it's going to be probably the most intriguing story of the season.
Of all the clubs, all 14 clubs in the ADNOC Pro League, 13 of them we can kind of have an opinion about what they've done before, their history, but this is brand new. This is unpredictable. Can you kind of predict how they're going to get on? It's going to be instant for them, isn't it? They're going to have to hit the ground running. But as Pedro said, they did so well in the Cup last season. They look like they have the tools and the mentality to go up against the big guns.
Yeah, Graham, you remember when we covered the President Cup against Al Ain, I said I can't wait to see United in the ADNOC Pro League. And they will be definitely one of the teams that will make a big surprise because they have the right coach and they have a great squad. When I remember the game they played against Al Wahda, what a great team. And the way how they play with confidence, character, and great organization, it's visible that it's one team. This year, many teams will have to be careful because they have the quality. People, the other clubs should not underestimate them because not only they have a great coach, but the team spirit. So I can't wait to see what they can do. And I believe that with the squad that they have and the coach that they have, United will make a big surprise.
Yeah.
And the irony of the scheduling, because it's a new club in town.
Yeah.
facing one of the clubs with the biggest history in the country in terms of football, Al Wasl, at Zabil,
Yes.
one of the most mythical stadiums to play in the UAE. A great opening. I think that match is on Saturday night, if I'm not mistaken. So stay tuned.
And the team of El Wada, they beat 4-2 in Al Ain in the President Cup. Was one of that period. El Wada was in good shape.
Yeah.
Yes, they're
And
doing well.
the performance that United did there, it tells me everything about the next season, what
Yeah.
they will do.
Yeah, well remembered, yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be great fun watching United. And don't forget, they have a World Cup winner leading them as well. So it's going to be terrific. All right, they're going to go through all the teams now. We're not going to take too long because we've got a lot to get through. We're going to start with Al Ain, the champions. Last season, incredible stuff from Al Ain. They went unbeaten throughout the entire league season. They were very close to getting the treble as well. They got the President's Cup, didn't quite get the ADIB Cup, but it was just brilliant from the top to the bottom, from Vladimir Ivic all the way down. No surprise that Ivic has been asked or was delighted to stay on to see what they can do this season, because they will be in the Champions League elite as well. But with all the teams that we're going to look at, Al Ain have the targets on their back, don't they?
They are the champions. It's a good target to have on your back, isn't it? Can they do better? Better is very hard because they were even unbeaten also. So better than that is very hard. But can they perform at the same level, being also involved in the Champions League, elite Champions League, I mean? This is for me a question mark in this sense. Al Ain is not only representing the UAE, and they know all about that because they did it many times, as they have their own legacy as a club in that competition. And as the competition is progressing to an even bigger format, I wonder if how Al Ain will be able to cope with that. And then the change of Laba for a different new striker, but also a very qualified one. Let's see what happens.
We talk about losing Laba, Ibrahim, but that kind of, you forget all the other talent within the team, Rahimi, Palacios, but the other Rahimi, etc., etc. It's throughout the team, plus the new signings. Even though they've lost the top scorer from last season, they don't seem that much weaker, do they?
Graham, this is Al Ain club.
Yeah.
So it's one of the most prominent and powerful team in the country and in the region too. So, and I know the targets of Al Ain. For them, every season they will be fighting for every cup, all the cups. So now I think the pressure will be more on Georgios, because Laba, the work that he did in Al Ain is really remarkable, and it's difficult to beat. But with Al Ain, when they take a decision to bring in one player, they're sure about their choices. Normally, I think it should be with the player that the squad that Al Ain has, plus the coach that they're having also. I think it will be maybe easier for Georgios to adapt to the team, because that's very important. It's the adaptation that will help him to score a lot of goals.
So it's not easy for Al Ain to do any better than last season, but they're going to give it a go, that's for sure. Let's move on to Al Jazira then. We've talked about the arrival of Cosmin Olaru. Are there any new arrivals in terms of players as well? But we did see in that Asian Champions League elite playoff, we saw Simon Banza, who joined them last season. He did get a goal in that game, which is good news for them. If they can get him firing, other things can slot into place.
I think they need, among other things, Jazira needs to understand how to play for their striker. Because now they have a target man on the box, like Sharjah will have Laba. Jazira has Simon Banza, who has some similar characteristics as Laba. So they need to understand how to feed them and to feed them mostly from the wings. In terms of new signings, Ruben, I would say, the fullback coming in from Warda, I would say is the most impactful one, or the most known one right now. The departures of Nabil Fekir and Mohamed Al Nani are noticeable, but again, it's a new start at the Mohammed bin Zayed Stadium.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch them, that's for sure. They'll have to get over the disappointment of the Asian Champions League playoff loss, but they will be in Champions League 2, so they do have Asian club football to play as well. Okay, let's move on then. That's Al Jazira, and we talked about Ruben Philippe moving from Wada to Al Jazira. So let's talk about Al Wada. They're the ADIB Cup champions. They got a win lifting a trophy last season, much needed for the club. They've got a new manager, Brazilian Pericles Chamusca. I think I'm saying that right. I'm doing my best here. Of all the teams again last season, Al Wada were one of the teams who were challenging for the title early on in the season, certainly. They had some managerial changes and things kind of fell apart a little bit near the end. But they could be one to watch again. They should be one to watch again, Ibrahim. Always Al Wada have to be in the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. Al Wada is been waiting for a long time, so many years to try to get the title. So I think Coach Chamusca coming into the team, he will bring that dynamic and some couple of changes to make sure that the team can perform well. But already the squad has a lot of talent, and of course, especially players like Krebin, Benteke. So they have experienced players there, and I think the Coach Chamusca, what he wants to do is to give that title Al Wada is waiting for so many years. So probably we put the right tactic, and with the squad that he's having, I'm sure he will be able to put the right players to win the challenges.
What do you see over the summer, Pedro, that Al Wada have done that have strengthened them, do you think? What have they tried to achieve over the summer?
I think the most impactful signing actually is the coach. Mm-hmm. The coach does not have too much experience in the UAE alone. He only had a short spell with Al Shab from Sharjah, previously from Sharjah, back in the days, I think 2016-17. But he has great experience in the region, mostly in Sharjah, in Saudi. With Al Taoun, for example, he did a great work. I think the left back, René Rivas from Calba, is a good catch for the team. And in terms of the other players, they have not been having great impactful signings, but they are signing what I consider to be eventually promising players that will bring new blood into the team. I regret the departure of Dusan Tadic, personally. Sazevkovic also moved to Al Wasl, so that's a replacement that will need to be made. But again, there's some interesting young talent arriving at the Al Nahyan Stadium. Let's see.
And experienced hands as well. I mean, Omar Kribin, if it wasn't for Kojo Laba, he would have been picking up the golden boot for the last couple of seasons. So he's always very important to Al Wada. Let's move on then to Shabab Al Ahly. 2 seasons ago, they were all conquering. Last season was a bit more frustrating for them. They pushed Al Ain all the way to the title. They're the only ones that kept up with Al Ain until the last few weeks when Al Ain just nudged ahead. But in terms of silverware, there was nothing for them to think about last season. But they also have hired Brazilian head coach. Jardim has come in. They will be desperate to get back and just edge above Al Ain again. It's a bit of a neck and neck between the two of them the last couple of seasons.
They have a good base to start for. They added some players, namely the Portuguese central defender Jorge Fernandes, the goalkeeper from Al Wasl Khaled Al Sanani, and also a winger, Janoa from Suriname, who promises to be an interesting adding, on top of a squad in this case that was already in the overall strong squad, just needing some adjustments. I think here the big question mark is the coach. The coach, not very experienced here in the region, but at the same time with some interesting experiences, namely in Brazil. Let us see in a squad that has so many Brazilian-born players. It can be an interesting chemistry there. As you said, they fought almost all the way until the end with Al Ain. Al Ain did the season they did last time. Let us hope that Shabab Al Ahly will be able to live up to the expectations, not only domestically, but also in the Champions League.
You know, Graham, Shabab Al Ahly, the good thing with them, even if they change the coach, the mentality of the club is really impressive. Because for every season, they're fighting for all the titles. And they're a great challenger, especially for Al Ain. So I think definitely last season they will use it to be more stronger in this coming season. And the squad that they have, as Pedro mentioned, the Brazilians, they will definitely give everything to try to get back the title. But it will not be easy. But the mentality and the strength and the character that they have, I think they can do something this season.
It's really interesting when you think about Andre Jardine, their new head coach. Traditionally, Shabab Al Ahly have always gone for like big head coaches with huge experience, but this is obviously a shift in what they want. They want to try something else. Have to be commended for giving a relatively inexperienced, he's not inexperienced, but you know what I mean, in comparison to the Shabab Al Ahly managers of recent years.
I totally understand and agree with what you're saying, but as I told you before, if you look at Shabab Al Ahly squad, they have so much Brazilian talent, young Brazilian talent. So maybe
And
it
the
makes sense.
locals too.
But so much young Brazilian talent, so much young talent. Let us say in general, both locals and Brazilians. Such high-profile players they bought from Brazilian youth internationals, many of them, and so it might be interesting to add a coach that is used to work with this type of players and to see how well it will work. I think the chemistry might be great due to the language, due to the fact that they are used to work together somehow. And probably that was the reason why the management chose a different profile this time around. You're right, it's a different profile from the previous managers, no doubt on that.
It's strange that the main goalkeeper of Al Wasl, Khaled Al Sinani, signed also in Shabab Al Ahly this season. So Al Mukbali already was good. So I'm wondering who will be the first goalkeeper, because both goalkeepers are very talented.
Good to have competition in that role, I guess. I guess that's the thinking. Let's move on to Sharjah then. We've been talking about a few new managers, but pleasingly, Sharjah have stuck with Jose Moraes, despite last season being quite a difficult one for Sharjah. They started off winning the UAE Super Cup, but after that, things didn't go so well. They were right down the bottom near the bottom of the table for a lot of the season and got out of trouble. So it's quite pleasing to see that they've stuck with Jose Moraes. He's now got Laba plus other new signings as well. It's just a bit heartwarming that they're giving him the chance to continue what he started last season.
Laba outshines any other signing this season. But there's another very good signing from Sharjah, in my opinion, Diney Borges, the Cape Verdean central defender. He was in the World Cup and played some very interesting matches, namely against Argentina, for example, against Spain. Former Batalla, 31 years, so I think he can be a very good adding to the defensive line of Sharjah. And Sharjah has been very active. It's not just about Laba and Diney Borges. They have been quite active in the transfer market, eventually trying to give Jose Moraes the tools to get the club back into winning ways.
And I mean, Jose Moraes, hugely experienced, a protege of Jose Mourinho, of course. So him staying over the summer, having the chance to bed in and look at the team that finished last season, add the new recruits as well. Pedro's saying that maybe Sharjah are ones we're now going to look at during this season as being real challengers again after the disappointment of last season. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. Jose Moraes is a great coach. He showed that when he was in Al Wada. And I think he definitely picked the negative situations last season. Because we all know the defense of Sharjah was really in difficulty. The way out, they were not communicating well. They were not organized, and they took so many easy goals. Definitely, I think this season, Coach Moraes will be able to fix all the mistakes and to make Sharjah stronger. And defensively, I think if they do well there, they will not have any problem this season, because having Laba in the front, Laba definitely will score. But behind, they have to make sure that they can defend very well.
Well, you look at some of the signings, you know, you got defensive midfield, centre-back.
Yes.
You know, I mean, they've got a centre-forward as well, but a lot of the signings are to try and address the defensive issues they had last season.
They needed to strengthen the squad, clearly.
Yes.
Because they finished 8th, and 8th is not the position, the traditional position of Sharjah. For example, 2 seasons ago, they finished 2nd. So they needed to make some changes. Mostly they needed to make improvements. And I think at least from the players we know better, I think they have completely hit the target. Let us see the other players, how well they will do. But I agree with Yaki. I think they are going into the right way in terms of the transfer strategy for the season.
But one thing I would like to add, I would like to see Caio Lucas, Usman Camara, Coronado, how they will play, how they will have to connect with Laba, because if they understand each other, they can be one of the most dangerous attack in the league.
Now you talk about going in the right direction. Al Nassr could be a real surprise in the season ahead. They sometimes, deceive a little bit. You think they're going to be better than they are. But last season, a lot of good groundwork was done. This season, coming into this, they've probably spent more than anybody else. They've certainly seemed to have got more players coming in. Not to mention their new boss, Milos Milojevic, who won the title with Al Wassel a couple of seasons ago. So Al Nassr really seem to be committed to improvement this season.
I always personally expect a lot from Al Nassr, and many times I get disappointed. The last 2 seasons they finished in the sixth position both times, with the same points, 38 points. So they have been stable in the middle of the table. But I always expect a little bit more from Al Nassr. With the signing of this particular coach, I think it's a great sign of ambition, honestly, from the Al Nassr side. And then they added on top of that some signings that I believe, in terms of the positions that they are covering, were positions that they needed. Clearly, the central forward position, they needed a striker. Chris Bedia has proven his track record as a goal scorer outside the country. Lionel Uamba, I think it's also a good adding in terms of a second choice for the same position. And then all the other players are covering positions where I believe Al Nassr needed really to strengthen the squad. So I would say the main signing is the coach, and according to the players that are also being brought to the club, maybe this time Al Nassr will not disappoint me.
We did see good stuff from them last season. They were tough to beat last season. They weren't quite getting the 3 points, but they were really tough to be beaten. Different manager then, of course. But again, do you share this optimism for Al Nassr this season?
Yeah, I think it was not a bad season for them. The only problem that they had, that Alain was too good, and that Shabab El Ali.
Yeah.
So they had to fight there to make sure that they can stay on the high table. But I believe the fact that Coach Milos took over, it will be very, very big. It's good for Al Nassr because he has the great quality. He's a very smart coach, very ambitious, and he already knows the league. And I think it's a great signing for Al Nassr. And of course, Coach Milos, what I like about him, he has that tactical discipline that also that he can put into the team. And that's what sometimes Al Nassr needed, because ball possession-wise, they're perfect. But defensively, it was some mistake that they were making that it was costing them. So I think definitely Coach Milos taking over will help them to have the right Al Nassr that we know.
And let's move a little bit further from Al Nassr, not too far, to Al Wassel, the Zabil Stadium. They're near neighbours. Portuguese head coach. So I'll let you take the lead on this one, Pedro. They're all Portuguese, aren't they? Portuguese or Brazilian. So Al Wassel again, last season they'll be a bit disappointed. When you have won the title recently, you want to keep challenging. They didn't really challenge for the ADNOC Pro League title last season. That will be their main aim, certainly, coming into this.
It has to be. Al Wassel, historically, is a title contender. Then, if in practice that will happen or not, we have 10 months ahead of us to know about that. I think keeping Coach Rui Vitória is a good decision. Not many changes, but interesting new addings. A goalkeeper, they needed, even because Khaled El-Sanani left the club. A central defender, Sazevkovic, with a proven track record in the country. A good defensive midfielder, with good defensive characteristics, Yahya Nader, another well-known face in the ADNOC Pro League. And a winger for squad depth, in this case, Leandro Spadaccio. I think here Al-Wazl has done their homework. Till the end of the transfer window, I'm waiting to see if there will be one or another change in terms of big signings, because they sign another players, but in this case, younger players. I'm expecting to understand if there will be any other big signing in terms of foreigners, maybe. And there's a question mark about Miguel Borja, because one of the things Al-Wazl was missing last season was a goal-scoring striker. I think Miguel Borja gave us a glimpse of what he can do, but it was just a glimpse. Now starting with the team from the beginning of the season in the training camp, etc., already with 6 months behind of adaptation, I think that is a key position. The goalkeeper position and the striker, goal-scoring striker position is a key position. So are two key positions for Al-Wazl to be successful this season.
Okay, let's move on. We're running out of time, so let's group some teams together. Traditionally, the sort of mid-table teams, Ibrahim, Banias, Ajman, Kalba, Al Dafra, Korfakan. Last season, Banias and Al Dafra really struggled to stay up. Daniel Asela came back to Banias and he produced not miracles, but he was expected to do it. He stays there. Al Dafra escaped relegation by a single point. Ajman, Kalba, Korfakan, they did well as well. Will it be more of the same from them? They're always tricky opponents for any of the so-called bigger teams.
It will be not easy for the team that you just mentioned, because if you see the four big names that Shabab Al Ali, Al Ain, Al Wada, Jazira, I can name more teams. All they're fighting for the title. So playing against, and the recruitment they did this season, they reinforce their team. So I think this team that you just mentioned, they have to do more effort, because if you take last season, it's not like their performances were bad, but we had really, really tough, high-level teams that were fighting to get the title. So I believe they have the squad, they have the players. They just have to fight to prove that they can do something also in the Ad Hoc Pro League.
And some great managers in there. Tvezic, he stays at Ajman. You know, he's known and loved in the UAE. Daniel Asela, as I say, at Banias. And also we must mention Korfakan, the only UAE Emirati head coach, Abdul Majid Al Namr as well. He's the only Emirati head coach who's going to start the season in the dugout. There may be changes as we go on. So there's a lot of talent on the bench, isn't there, and experience in getting out of tricky situations.
Also, Dafra keeping Alan Orvat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I think, for example, looking at the transfer windows, I would say I'm expecting good things from Ajman and Banias because of precisely of that, of the continuity. The same coaches with a very large experience in the league, very large experience in those two clubs. Yeah. I think Dafra can also do a lot better than what they did last season. Yeah. Even though for me they lost what was for me, in my opinion, their best player, Jobson, to Ajman. I have a few doubts about Korfakan and Kalba in between the transfer windows and the coaches in terms of Korfakan has a coach that knows the country and the league very well. Kalba has a newcomer coming into the scene. So I have my question marks about these two sides, but let's see. We have some weeks ahead to understand it better.
I mean, Banias start their season against Al Ain doesn't get any easier for them. Okay. Let's move on to the newcomers then. We've already mentioned United FC, Andrea Pirlo, and that whole story. Hatta as well come up into the top division. They've been with us before, but they now have Alexander Ilic as their head coach. What do you see the impact of both our new teams? They are, like I say, United FC is a very different property from Hatta coming up, but do you think they can both have an impact?
For sure, they can have an impact, but as it is a tradition in the Ad Hoc Pro League, last season, for example, there was an exception. Dafra did not get relegated, and Bataya went in their place. Usually, the two promoted sides are the main candidates to return back to the Division 1. This is what history tells us. Now, history sometimes can be challenged, and I think we have here two good opportunities. United, because it's, as we said before, a brand new club with a brand new style of management, with a coach that has such an high profile in the world of football. And Hatta, because of their experience as a club in the ADNOC Pro League scene. And I think they also sign a very interesting players. Firas Ben Larbi, lots of players. that is usual in the teams that get promoted. Firas Ben Larbi was also a good signing coming in from Sharjah. I think they have what it takes to fight, to put up a good fight to avoid the relegation.
I mean, you look at some of those names coming in, and they are familiar to a lot of fans of the ADNOC Pro League, certainly. So, and United have done the same thing as well. They're trying to mix young talent, but bring that experience in. They know how important experience in this top division is.
You know, Graham, I think United will give the motivation for the other teams to fight this season, because the character and the personality that they have, the team spirit that they have, it will motivate the other team also to fight against teams like Al Ain, Shabab El Ali, Jazira. So it will not be easy. This is the ADNOC Pro League. the intensity, the level is really high. So I expect from all the teams to be really ready and to prepare well. Because now already, I think from tomorrow, the league is starting.
Yeah.
So I can just wait to the start already.
Well, let's talk about the start and our little predictions of what we're going to see. Often the season kind of works in stages, doesn't it? You have the opening stage, and by the end of the season, what happened in the opening stage seems like 10 years before. We are going to have a break coming up as well. We've got the Gulf Cup that's going to interrupt the early part of the season as well. So for the big teams, it's just about getting the 3 points on the board. Is that all they need to do this first weekend and looking ahead into week 2?
These first 4 weeks, I don't remember over the last few seasons I was having 4 weeks in a row in the start like this. And this is interesting because the transfer window is still open until the 1st of October.
We often have cup breaks as well, don't we, that we don't seem to have at the beginning of this
This time we have 4 straight back-to-back rounds of the ADNOC Pro League. That will give us a good picture by the end of round 4 of what's going on. You cannot drop points if you are a title contender. You cannot drop points. You need to hit the ground running from now. It's too hot, but it's too hot for everyone. I think the players who are coming new to the country will suffer more than the players who are already used to these temperatures and mostly the humidity at night. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
You're right.
But and that can play a role in the outcome of the matches. But as I told you, there's no time to lose here, because in the previous seasons we were used to have a small break, so we would have less rounds in a row and we would have breaks. So if something needed to be corrected, there would be time to correct. This time, no, it's 4 rounds in a row, so you have to get things going. If you're a title contender, you need to start winning from tomorrow.
And you think Al Ain went the entire season unbeaten, but they didn't run away with the title at all. They were still being pushed by Shabab El Ali for the last few weeks.
Graham, always when you are the title holder, you're in big trouble, because all the teams are coming for you. It's a big challenge to try to perform like the previous season, because the thing with Al Ain, they did a lot. They won even the categories, the younger categories, they won all.
Yeah.
And the 23s, the first team, and the 21. So when you did the great performance like that, usually it's really, really hard to do the same. But this is Al Ain. I know the club, I know their ambitions, and I think they have still a great squad. They want to try something new with Georgios. Why not? Let's see, because they still have the players who can make the difference. Palacios, Rahimi, Hussein. So the squad is still there, and they have a great tactician, Coach Ivic. So definitely, it will not be easy for them. And if you remember, I say, usually when one team becomes champion, the following year is always difficult. Same situation for Shabab El Ali 2 years before. Then Al Ain took over. Now, will Al Ain be able to do twice in a row? Let's see what can happen.
Plus, I think, Ibrahim and Graham, on the other side, the other teams facing Al Ain, they have another trophy also to win against them, is the fact that they have this unbeaten record, very long unbeaten record. So whomever beats them will have that trophy. So on top of beating the reigning champion, it's breaking the unbeaten record. So I think it's going to be very interesting to observe Alain's matches in the upcoming weeks and months, of course.
I can say one thing. Too many teams are not happy that Alain did the double. The President Cup plus the league. So all of them, they'll be ready to come for Alain.
Also, you're assuming that they will be beaten this season. They might do it again, Pedro. They could go unbeaten again.
Yes, but the other teams for sure will have a go at it. We'll try to have a go at it.
All right, let's take a look then at match week 1, the fixtures. We are on the eve of the brand new ADNOC Pro League season. So let's see how it was all dealt out to start the first games of the season. Match week 1 starts tomorrow, Friday the 14th of August. Al Nassr are the first to kick off at home against Kalba, and then the evening kickoff is in Abu Dhabi, where Ajman are on the road and they are at Al Wada. Then on Saturday, Sharjah begin their new season away at Al Dhafra. That's a long drive. Al Wasl are at home, as we said. What a start to life in the top division for United FC. That will be fascinating to watch. That's at 8:45. Also at 8:45, Shabab Al Ahli begin what they hope will be a successful season away at Khor Fakkan. And on Sunday, it's Al Jazira against Hatta in the early evening kickoff. And then the champions begin the defence of their title. They are unbeaten in the league all through last season. They are away at Banias. They have a good record against Banias, but their last match was a real tussle, so you could go either way. But also, it is going to be our very first match of the week. We will have live coverage for you all the way through, from the beginning to the end of our first match, Banias against Alain. Looking at some of those fixtures, especially our match of the week, is there anyone that jumps out of you? Al Wasl United FC, it's just mouth-watering to just look forward to it.
Yeah, it's the curiosity of the club that United is going to be facing and the stadium. It's a very interesting start. This visit of Alain to Banias, it's also something to have an eye on, because I think it's going to be tough for Alain. Of course, much tougher for Banias.
And Al Nassr are playing the first game before anybody else. Is that good or bad? Do you want to be the first ones out of the gate? Everybody will be watching the first kickoff of the first game of the season.
Yeah, definitely. It's very exciting. I'm actually really happy that it's starting tomorrow. I couldn't wait. And one thing I would like to say, Jazira didn't take Cosmin for nothing. They're coming for that title. Al Wada, the same. Shabab Al Ahli, they kind of regret how they lost the league last season to Alain. So it's definitely exciting to watch, and every single game will be crucial. So let the game begin.
Let the games begin. He said it. Ibrahim Diaki, thank you very much. Pedro Correa, thank you very much. And thank you to you, of course, for watching Final Score, our first episode of the brand new season. But the talking is nearly finished. We're going to be back on Sunday for live coverage of Banias against Alain. But it all kicks off tomorrow. Who's going to be the brand new ADNOC Pro League champion? We're going to find out. It's going to be great fun finding out as well. From everybody here at Final Score, good night.